I think it's very important to level set before we kick it off and talk a lot about the technology and outcomes and business drivers or what have you, to really understand what AI operations means, right? So what better way to start that conversation than to kind of review the Gartner definition really quick here. So Gartner, in one of their AI-related research publications, has defined AI operations as artificial intelligence for IT operations combines big data and machine learning to automate IT operations processes, including event correlation, anomaly detection, and causality determination. So this is how Gartner sees AI operations, right? All aspects of automating operations, processes, correlating events, detecting anomalies, and obviously determining root causes, as well as figuring out a way to resolve those problems with assistance from algorithms and software. So talking about Gartner, I think I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that Aruba has maintained a very, very strong position in the leadership quadrant in the Gartner MQs going back to almost 15 years now. And in the most recent one, obviously, we still maintain our very strong leadership position, but also most notably, we still maintain the edge, and no pun intended, in the completeness of vision access in the MQ. But equally importantly, as this slide I have up here kind of outlines, we are being clearly ranked as number one in pretty much all the 6 categories of the critical capabilities report. And the most important one, obviously, amongst all the others, is the hands-off network operations category, which is the last one, which is a relatively new category. And this is probably the closest that comes to grading a vendor on their capabilities for AI-related or AI-based operations. So we're very, very pleased and excited about these placements and a clean sweep, if you will, in the critical capabilities report as well for Gartner. Now, with that kind of background for some of the history and our innovation and how the industry analysts are seeing some of the innovation, I want to kind of give you a little bit more context for how AI has been core or integral to the Aruba innovation and the Aruba portfolio. So for us, the AI journey started back in 2016 with the acquisition of Rasa Networks. And I'm actually very happy to report that some of the core founding members and PhDs in data science, machine learning, that are really industry veterans that are trendsetters, I'm very honored that they're part of this panel that have joined me, and they're going to be presenting on a bunch of topics here. So the core Rasa acquisition brought to us a lot of technology, a lot of talent and expertise for applying artificial intelligence for network operations and optimization. And we followed that up in 2017 with the acquisition of Neura Systems. And this time, it was a technology that was focused on applying artificial intelligence for solving, security-oriented problems and use cases, security analytics and anomaly detection, and securing the network infrastructure. And that has also been, part of our journey, and it's all part of the capabilities that we've integrated into our portfolio. Recently, in early 2018, we also acquired Cape Networks that was more focused around end-user experience analysis, end-user experience management, and visibility. And we have started to integrate that to our portfolio as well, but equally importantly, sprinkle AI into some of the alerts and other capabilities that it generates. The offerings that it provides to our customers, and making it part of the whole portfolio. And early, back this year, I would say in spring and early summer timeframe, we launched or we introduced to the market what we call the Aruba Edge Services Platform, or ESP. It's also kind of a pun or a play on the extrasensory perception abbreviation, if you will. And what Aruba ESP does is it provides that sixth sense to help automate a lot of the network operations and really provide some of the security-oriented use cases to protect and secure the edge, if you will. So AI operations is one of the key pillars of Aruba ESP. The other pillars of this platform, if you will, is the unified infrastructure, which includes obviously wireless, for which Aruba was known back when it was founded by our founder and president, Mr. Kirti Melkode, in 2002. But over the years, especially with our integration with HP, we have a very, very strong switch portfolio with the second largest market share in the industry. And we've had a very strong SD branch offering for a couple of years. And as most of you probably know, we have acquired Silver Peak, which again has a leadership presence in the Gartner MQ in the SD-WAN space. So it's also part of our portfolio, and we're integrating all of these capabilities as part of our unified infrastructure, which is one of the other pillars of ESP. And last but not least, with our very strong, security portfolio, the NERA, capabilities integrated into the portfolio, the ClearPass product line, that's been very key for policy definition, authentication, and network access control type use cases, dynamic segmentation. It's all part of the zero trust security pillar of ESP. And as we all very well recognize, great AI operations requires great data and great foundation. And we're very, very happy to report that because of all of these capabilities that we've acquired, and we've been able to support a lot of these products and use cases in on-prem world for many years, we've been able to assemble a huge volume of data, a massive data lake with data from million plus network devices, tens of millions of client devices, supporting multiple verticals, really hundreds of use cases across wired, wireless, and SD-WAN. And now we're able to obviously harness all that data by applying our innovation and machine learning and AI technology to provide some of the value and guarantee the business outcomes. So AI operations for us is a core part of our Aruba ESP platform. Now, if you were to look at the broad objectives or business problems or outcomes that the AI operations is expected to solve, we kind of see this in three broad categories. The first one is obviously to provide fundamentally a great, stable, resilient network connectivity experience for users. This is across wired, wireless, as well as SD-WAN. The second one is guaranteeing great user experience. So now just having a good connectivity or a stable connectivity in itself doesn't necessarily guarantee great user experience as it relates to connectivity to the applications and quality of service. And there's a lot that the infrastructure needs to do, leveraging AI to guarantee that great user experience, as well as being able to proactively monitor the experience and take mitigation action to resolve issues, if any. And last but not least, ensuring a secure edge infrastructure as a lot of these users and devices connect, especially with the advent and proliferation of IoT devices on the network. And also, more importantly, the massive shift, if you will, of a lot of the applications that enterprises consume, consuming the SaaS apps, but also lifting and shifting their core internal applications to the cloud. And all of these things mean that the security challenges or problems at the edge, whether it's the branch campus or what have you, are significantly different. And we believe that connect and protect has to be integral to the network, operations realm. And we believe that AI operations is integral to both the security, connectivity, as well as user experience use cases. And on this particular slide, you see that we have some proof points for how AI operations is supporting some of these, broad gamut of outcomes, if you will, as part of our Aruba Edge Services, platform. First and foremost is what we call AI-based insights, which really helps network administrators and managers and leaders be able to automate anomaly detection and providing specific root cause analytics, recommendations for how to resolve a given problem, but equally importantly, making proactive recommendations for network optimization. So that is a class of problems or use cases that we support with what we call AI Insights. And obviously with the integrated nature of how networks are managed today, right? Not necessarily as silos, but integrated across wired, wireless, SD branch through end-to-end management, that our platforms like ESP with Aruba Central kind of instantiating, some of the network operator facing elements of ESP. Having the ability to get to the data, get to problems, understanding where the problems might be without having to click through 10, 15, mouse clicks and kind of looking at, chaining through a whole bunch of screen clicks, if you will. That's very important. And a key element that takes away this complexity is what we call AI-based search, which is natural language, based queries. Say, hey, tell me where there are problems, what part of my networks, do we see any user experience issues? Do we see any problems with users, connectivity, given location, site, by groups, folders, or what have you? So that is the AI search capability. And also, when sometimes problems span multiple realms or silos across the network, and obviously, we all know very well that the bane of network operators are intermittent problems, right? So just when you want to go troubleshoot it, the problem is intermittent, it goes away, then you got to wait, or you got to, figure out ways to capture the data. And the AI assist technology that we have built into the central ESP capabilities basically captures some of these problems as they occur in terms of packet captures, log file captures, and is able to even trigger, a trouble ticket generation. So all the data is there. So you don't have to go kind of search for a needle in a haystack or be able to wait for the problem to reoccur. So that is the AI assist capability. And a lot of these, capabilities have been enhanced. And some of these, core algorithms and things came to us from the, RASA acquisition. But obviously, we have built upon it and we've enhanced this. And Jose, my colleagues Jose and Bern will talk a lot more about it. And I touched upon the near acquisition for security analytics capabilities. So some of the technology that we acquired is now part of our what we call ClearPass device insight capability that's also built into ESP, where we're able to leverage AI for very definitive identification of really tens of thousands of network devices, IoT devices, based on their behaviors, and really supporting that protect use case for securing the network infrastructure. So IoT visibility and being able to tie the device behaviors and device types and attributes to automatically deriving policies that's obviously defined in ClearPass, and being able to apply those policies to dynamically segment those devices on the network. So that supports the security aspect of the use cases leveraging technology that we got and integrated from Niara. And last but not least is I talked about user experience inside the acquisition from Cape, and those capabilities obviously have also been integrated into our ESP platform through Aruba Central. So not only are we able to proactively monitor end user experience, application and performance from a user perspective, but also able to tie all of that end to end and apply some of the AI capabilities to really help network operators hone in on the core problems that they need to pay attention to, and kind of eliminating all the noise and just focus on what the key signals are and what it is that they need to worry about, and actions that they need to take to mitigate potential or brewing problems. So in summary, just to wrap up my section here really quick, so there are three key AI operations outcomes, broad categories, if you will. First and foremost, if there are issues that are known, that are manifesting, that are impacting users, being able to automatically root cause them and getting recommendations from software about potential actions that one needs to take to resolve those problems. Secondly, in a lot of cases, right, this whole idea of known unknowns and unknown unknowns, in many cases, there could be a lot of latent problems that really haven't bubbled over, but they're kind of impacting a small segment of users, but they really haven't caused the crossed the threshold where they're impacting or causing a lot of trouble tickets to get triggered. And these, are a range of problems around performance or what have you that are. Yes, sir.
Ash, do you have any statistics on, known issue resolution that your AI ops has been able to perform or reduce, issues and that sort of stuff?
When you say statistics, you're looking for a number of customer
percentage of incidents that are resolved through AI ops, or less, X number less tickets, or that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have a lot of real-world live examples, some of which we're going to show demos, and Jose will touch upon it. I would say that in some of our really large retail and other type of deployments, we have come across situations or cases where the combination of all the capabilities built into AI has demonstrated that in many cases there were 30 or 40% like DNS issues or other types of issues that were manifesting as potential network connectivity problems that were not necessarily oriented to networks that we've been able to detect and resolve, right? And I believe that both Jose and Sri will touch upon it, but I would say that there have been about in a lot of our deployments, probably about 20-30% of some thorny problems that were kind of intermittent, or issues that some were lingering for many months or quarters. We're able to resolve them once we were able to roll these capabilities out, sir.
All right, thanks.
Yep. So, talking about, kind of wrapping this up here, the second, category is unknown issues. So doing peer benchmarking and kind of figuring out, hey, you're not really, working optimally, or this is kind of could be a potential problem in a week or a month. That's the second category. And last but not least, yes, things are working fine, but there's always room for further optimization. So being able to continuously monitor the user experience, continuously monitor network performance, and being able to make proactive recommendations to get that performance level from 80, 85% to, let's say, 90, 95% with recommendations for proactive configuration or tweaks. And in many cases, being able to plumb those configurations back automatically into the infrastructure. So that is how we see kind of all of these capabilities coming together, in addition to the use cases, the outcomes that I talked about. So with that, I'm very pleased to welcome and hand over the floor to Jose Telado, who's, I believe, a PhD from Stanford, and he's part of the founding member of RASA, which became part of Aruba in 2016, and that's very integral and central to a lot of the core algorithms and capabilities that are part of our ESP platform.
So, since you're part of the broader HPE family, are there any initiatives from AIOps from a network perspective towards your colleagues from storage and server, like Infosight and so on?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for that question. So, yes, so the broad answer to that question is, at HPE, we have this whole, what we're calling, common cloud framework or a common cloud platform. And I'm actually happy to report that the storage and the server, portion of our sister, businesses are leveraging the Aruba, what we call the Aruba Cloud Platform, which is the ESP platform, as the core capability to kind of integrate the manageability frameworks for servers and storage. So that's actually in the works. And equally importantly, Infosight, as you well pointed out, is a fantastic piece of technology that really, has been leveraging AI and kind of proactively monitoring, the storage infrastructure and failure rates, and proactively, mitigating or detecting, potential failure points in the future and so on. So yes, there are some active projects, and I'm not at liberty to go into all of the roadmap, but suffice to say that we are we're actually working on integrating all of these technologies, and we're going to leverage GSP as the core platform as a building block for all of it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Ash, if I may, I'll just add, exactly right. The getting it onto a common platform essentially allows us to not replicate work independently. It's just to bring leverage across all of these investments, within the company with HPE. Infosight is also instrumental in going back to address the previous question as well. They got an early start on delivering on that whole support experience, on identifying and making recommendations and proactively fixing problems in there, right? And that is something that, those techniques are something we're bringing over to this side. The exact models are kind of domain specific and may not be reusable, but a lot of the underlying techniques and the platforms, including putting everything into a common data lake, are all leverageable across HPE.
What's the difference between the ESP platform and the Infosight?
Yeah, so Infosight is a technology that came from Nimble, which was one of HP's acquisitions a few years ago. And Infosight was primarily focused on leveraging AI and having the telemetry or live data coming from all of the storage installations from around the world, and being able to apply AI to detect, the potential disk failures before they happen, lifetime usage, writes, other health parameters, errors, and those types of things, right? So it was really able to proactively mitigate problems or provide, failure, analysis, if you will, proactive, detection of potential failure points, and maintenance and replacements, and so on. So that is what Infosight brought to the table. What Aruba brings to the table, as we talked about, is all of these capabilities around security, around network operations, user experience insight, and the core platform itself, where we're able to support, million devices and tens of millions of client devices. And this is a very massive data lake, very rich set of AI capabilities. So not only are we going to be able to serve the network portion of the HPE portfolio that Aruba brings to the table, but also be able to serve the server and storage aspects of it, leveraging the platform, the data lake, plus also all of the algorithms and some of the capabilities that Infosight brings to the table on the AI side.
Okay. And so then does ESP support the HP network switches as well, or is that Infosight that supports the HP network switches?
So ESP pretty much covers all of the network portfolio that HP brings to the table. So just as a reminder, the entire HP network and security, product capabilities are all part of Aruba. So that's part of our Aruba's founder. I mean, he's the president of the Aruba business, Mr. Kirti Melkote. So the switching piece is part of Aruba. So the switch piece is part of Aruba. Wireless LAN is part of Aruba. The entire security use cases around clear paths, policy definition, authentication, network access control, and all of the AI components and the user experience. It's all part of the Aruba portfolio, sir.
Okay. I mean, that said, given that we developed that platform, the platform itself is leverageable across, other business units within HPE. And, essentially what we're looking at, the advantage of being part of HPE to us at Aruba, and it's the same thing across the board with other business units, is the fact that there's going to be some innovation that starts in one of these business units, but can quickly cross over and benefit all of the other BUs as well. And that's something in the past few years we've been far more proactive and active in looking for these points of leverage than we have in the past, or than we had as an independent company as Aruba 5 years ago.